So last month we had, I think it was Jay. Jay came on and talked about our Courier web push integration, and it was really based around these toast notifications. And this is what people have been working with over the last month. But Riley is here to tell us about our newest offering in in-app, and that is the inbox widget, which is now in beta. So what do you want to tell us about the widget, the inbox widget, Riley?
Hold on a second. My dog is being upset at me.
Oh, no worries. We love dogs here. I don't know if Blue has been featured in our Twitter yet, but another reason to follow our Twitter, which is @TryCourier, because occasionally you get to see posts of our animals. So mostly dogs, but we have other ones coming.
Yeah, she gets upset when I'm talking to people on my laptop. So she's growling at me right now. Okay, so the toast is great, and the toast, as mentioned in the previous thing, but we can do a little bit of review, is that like toast gives us ability to, you can send an event to Courier, and then you can kind of have us send that to your website. And you might ask, well, we already have that. We have browser push, we have mobile push. And yes, those do work, but they're not necessarily in your application. They're a little bit outside of it. Mm-hmm. And they're not really styled that well. And if Adrian goes back to the previous widget, you'll see that you can style this. You can put your icon, you can change the colors, you can have details and dismiss, and you can add different buttons. Mm-hmm. So this is really cool because it really kind of augments your application. And also, me personally, I really don't like to subscribe to browser push notifications. They scare me, and also I feel like they're really intrusive. But inside of your web app, I think is really great. But the problem with this is that what happens if my message disappears before I see it, or I'm looking somewhere else, like yelling at my dog, and I come up, not yelling, being very, very polite and nice and telling her to please be quiet while I'm on the phone. And I come back and then I see that, the messages just disappeared. I'm like, sure. What was that? What was that? Well, what we have now is we have an inbox. The inbox is going to be the history of all the messages that got sent to you on Toast. And that's really cool because it's a history. So maybe you saw the toast, you didn't want to deal with it, you wanted to deal with it later. And now all of a sudden you can go click into our inbox and see the history of all of them. And you can see the unread messages, all messages, giving you the ability to kind of really control this. And so it's basically just like a history of all the toasts. Yeah. Right there. And it's really exciting for us. And there's gonna be a lot of really, really cool things that we're gonna do with this in the future. Like integrating this not just with Toast, but with email, for example. So say I got a Toast message that came in, but I also emailed somebody and they're part of the same message. But I opened the email, that's automatically going to mark your Toast message in your inbox as read. Oh, that's very cool. With Courier, and if you're using Courier for everything, we really have the ability to kind of make everything talk to each other. And you're not going to get that anywhere else. And that's really, really kind of exciting. So I'm really excited about the features and the progress that we're making here. Yeah, and kind of like I don't know if I don't watch commercials anymore, but there used to be the commercial for the hair club for men. We're not only the president, but we're also a client. So you can see the inbox widget in use in Courier today. I think it's behind a flag, but yes. Is it behind a flag? Yeah. So Adrian, you can see it. It's in beta in our app. Yeah. Join the beta. Okay. I guess I need to log in with my non-Courier account more often so I can see what's behind the flag. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about the widget because it's so easy to add this. I think like all of the power that you're seeing there is really happening like behind the scenes. Courier is facilitating that. Mm-hmm. So to integrate it with your website, let's talk a little bit about that. Yeah, so we have two ways of integrating it. We have a way of using React, which is shown here. And if you're familiar with React, a lot of components like this have a provider component. All of our in-apps, so in-apps can be like an umbrella term that we'll be using, and it's going to encompass multiple different components. Sure. So in-app will be considered for inbox, for Toast, and then for preferences and things like that moving forward. So for all these components, you need to wrap them in a Courier provider. And the Courier provider is what's going to be responsible for talking to Courier. So you can kind of think of it as the transport between your website and Courier. I'm going to go get the messages. I'm going to know who your user ID is. I'm going to help you mark messages as read or unread, and everything like that. But it's just as simple as this is my user and this is my client key. We will be supporting more authentication for domains and user signatures, but for now, the simplest way to get up and running is saying, hey, this is my user ID and this is my client key.
Nice. Yeah. So basically, if you are already a user of our Toast component, this could be as simple as just pulling in the inbox component and then adding it inside your already existing Courier provider because it's using the same provider. Yeah. We have a question in the chat. Is Courier thinking of adding more capabilities like searching, filtering, and flagging messages?
Wow, that's a really great question. I think that, so searching, filtering. So we do support filtering in the sense that if you go back to the previous tab, we do have unread and all messages.
Okay.
And those are basically two different filtered lists. So unread basically has a filter that says is read false, and then all messages is basically no filters. So we have the ability to do filters, giving like a filter pane where you can say, I want this between these dates sent to this sent to this person because it'll only be sent to you. I think it's definitely a possibility, and I like the idea. And like with that, like search and filters would be an easy thing to add, and I like the idea. But as of right now, you just gave us that idea, so.
Yeah, and that's the great thing is right now the beta is open. So Nate, do you want to tell us how you join our beta program?
Yeah, you can just reach out to support@courier.com and I'll connect with you and get you access to the beta documentation. And we'd love to get feedback. That's one of the things that we hope that beta participants would be willing to do for us, because it is being tested and we do want to improve it and we want to encompass user feedback. So
yeah,
but if you're interested, reach out to support and we'll connect.
Yeah, so sign up for access, start implementing it, and if you have great ideas for features, if you find any bugs, please let us know, and we'll see what we can do. We'll see what we can add to kind of the roadmap for these components.
Yeah, and I love that question, by the way. Like we're in beta, so like the more feedback, the better at this point. So please just keep them coming.
So let's talk a little bit about the design and what can be customized here. So we have kind of an overview image of what the inbox looks like and all of the different components. And so these are all customizable, right, Riley?
Yeah. So out of the box, we basically have these different sections like header, footer, icon, bell icon, message actions, and basically title, body, and everything like that, and basically how long ago the message came in. For the React components, all of these are associated with render props. Okay. So I think in the next thing you have the interface for inbox props. You have render header, render icon, render messages, render message. So you can take control of rendering all of these. Granted, that's pretty advanced stuff if you want to do that. But really, what Courier wants to do, and what Courier kind of has as kind of our brand, is that we want to be opinionated in the sense that we want people to get up and running as quick as possible and get this beautiful right off the bat without having to do much work. But then kind of give you escape hatches. And one thing that we're going to do with this, if you go back to the previous slide, sorry, I'm just having you kind of jump around, but we're building a UI for this as well. And we will have the ability for you to, inside Courier, choose your colors and choose different parts of the theming that you want, say your icon, because obviously no one's going to be using the Courier icon necessarily, but it's fun for us to show it off because we love that little bird inside of it. If you've never noticed that there's a bird there.
Yes, we do.
So we're going to be building a UI to allow you to edit these things, and I think that will be a lot of fun for people to be able to do it without actually having to know what is a render prop, because a render prop is an advanced React concept
Mhm.
that not everybody's going to know how to do, but everybody will know how to use a color picker, or I hope so.
Yeah. So probably next month we'll be back here talking about the expanded brands part of the Courier app that will allow you to set all of these without having to mess with code, which is
Yeah, and if you're familiar with Courier, you'll know that there's this brand concept where you can basically go and say, for my emails, I want these colors and this logo and
Mhm.
everything. So this is basically just taking that brand concept and adding in-app inside of it. And then so you can have a consistent brand right out the gate between your in-app and your emails.
Yeah, but until then, we have the ability to theme it, and so we've got information about the different properties for the theme. So you can set CSS properties on the header, the footer, the icon, all the different things about the message list. So all the different parts that we call out there, you can customize using CSS.
Yeah, and it's really extensive. We're using styled components here, so you can basically have control over the CSS of any single part of the inbox to your heart's content. Granted, we'd love you to use ours, but we know that's not always going to happen. So, but we're trying to make it as pretty as possible without having much user interaction.
Awesome. I think this is our last slide on the inbox. Yeah. So the last thing we want to do while we have you is we want to talk about kind of a sneak peek. So like what's coming in the next month. So we've really touched on the branding, like the branding inside the Courier app, but we also wanted to mention this preferences component. Last month we had Suhas on talking about the changes that we did to preferences, and this is kind of building on top of that. Do you want to speak towards this at kind of a high level? We don't need to go too much in because we're going to go into this next month.
Yeah, so kind of what I mentioned before about this concept of in-app being an umbrella term. The next set of components or next component that we're adding inside the in-app is preferences. So kind of like we said before, is that integrating all these things in your own application, building a WebSocket client, building toast notifications, building an inbox, it all be done relatively easily. I mean, like not relatively easily, but you can build it yourself, right? And with this, we do have an API for preferences. So you could right now go ahead and build a UI, have a proxy server that then talks to Courier, and then set your preferences that way. But wouldn't it just be cooler if we had components that you can just embed into your page already, and then you could basically get everything out of the box? And that's what Courier is trying to do with all of in-app, is that saying, yes, you could do all this yourself, but hey, look, you can get it up and running right away, and look at how powerful your app looks now, and you can kind of really flex your muscle by having Courier there behind the scenes.
And I see that this will be brandable as well, right?
Yeah. So basically, the branding that you will choose for the inbox will also brand this. So
nice.